What's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. I zigged when I should have zagged going down this canyon, so I'm gonna have to turn around. Looks like it ran into some private property down here. I thought this was a trail. Looked like I was following some tracks, but I guess not. Uh-oh. Oh, whoa. I knew that was going to be trouble. I was on ice for a long time there. You guys probably didn't see how much of an emergency that was, but my rear end was like next to my handlebars. The rear end just slid out and I was totally sideways. A lot of this is just ice underneath. It's nice to have studs this time of year, which I do not. I have studs at home, but I haven't installed them yet. I just haven't really seen a need for them quite yet, and now I'm starting to. If the weather continues like this, I'll probably install them. I can't lose my front end. I need to make sure I put studs in the front end at least. That's generally what I do. I put minimal in the rear, I put plenty in the front, so there's always at least one making contact. At least we're back on some single track now. Got you guys some scenery to look at. Actually, we're going straight down this ravine that I went down not that long ago in a ride. These might be my tracks coming down this. Yeah, this is from earlier today, actually, if I remember right. I don't know, I get turned around pretty easy on these trails. They all start blending together. Riding when it's snowy out can be a little sketchy. Yeah, it's a little sketchy sometimes. I've had a couple close calls so far. You'll just be riding along and you'll hit a big old patch of ice. As long as it's snow, I feel pretty okay. But once it's ice, all bets are off because I'm not using studs or anything. Cows are something else. How they survive at night out here is beyond me. They're such hardened creatures compared to me. I would be a goner so quick if I just stood there all night like they do. Pretty sure not all of them make it, but a lot of them do. I've always had a lot of issues with Darwinism. I'm not going to have time to get into Darwinism probably before I get to the truck, but we're going to go past the truck, so that's okay. I've always said this, and nobody has given me a clear answer. Even when I was watching people try to, like professionals, try to explain it, they always say, well, man came from the tree, slowly over millions of years became human after being an ape for so long or whatever. And that's the case with pretty much every animal. Is okay, but where's everything in between? Wouldn't they keep developing? Like, where are all the ones that are not quite there yet then? Even the tribes that are uncontacted, you go there and you visit the tribes, they've taken those tribe members and they are as smart as you and I. They're just smart in a different way. They have different values. Murder is definitely a lesser thing to them. It's strange to watch human behavior like those tribes, because it's not normal to us in any way. But also, they've taken a couple of those guys that are clicking and whatever. They have their own language, but a lot of times anyway. But you give them an education and they can learn just as you and I. But that's a question I've always had, is where are all of the people or things in between? There should be a smooth transition, because I think everybody has agreed so far that it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just... Everybody says, oh, it doesn't work like that. Yes, it does. It does work like that. According to literally everybody I've talked to, they say that, well, for one, some people think mutation and adaptation equals evolution. I would disagree. You have to have a different species for it to be evolution. One guy I listened to recently was talking about how evolution, the reason he's a Darwinist is because if you reject the idea, then there's literally nothing other than that idea out there. Because he says, well, how do you explain God? Because if you reject this idea, then you have to open up the idea of trying to explain God. Which, I don't know if you're supposed to be able to do that, but if something doesn't make sense, that doesn't mean that you just say, oh, well, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but neither does this other thing. I don't think that's a good way to look at it. So yeah, if a fish comes out of the water and starts walking, and pretty soon you have all these other weird things, you would have those things still, because there's fish that are undeveloped behind them that are taking the same path. It kind of ties into other things, but there's a lot of people who just hone in on Darwinism and keep their expertise at that. I would say it's tough, and on this channel I talk about all kinds of stuff that I don't truly understand. I'm just explaining it to you the best that I can come up with. I know that if you watch this channel and watch all 1,000 videos I've made, you'll find your flavor of thing that annoys you or upsets you. That's this channel is kind of an open world as far as my opinions. I mean, it's just going to be the way it is. I'm going to say exactly my opinions on things, and I'm never going to censor censor what that is, because it wouldn't be true then. Granted, some people may think that a censorship of the channel, voluntary censorship, is necessary to keep from hurting feelings or whatever, but my opinions are always going to be present here, and my full opinion will be, not just a little bit. Steep up at the top there. Are you talking about the thing at the bottom? Yeah. Yeah, it seems like all the climbs out here have that little divot at the bottom there. Pretty steep. There's a big old whoop here at the bottom. Curb block. Good suspension. Absorbing it. He got it. He got it. So Darwinism ties into the Big Bang Theory and in a certain way, because it ties into creationism. Darwinism isn't even really the rejection of creationism. It's just the acknowledgement that things that are here change, but I 100% believe that things adapt. I just don't think that they totally change species. That's my only problem with it. Adaptation is one thing, but and then, you know, when different species, a different type of whale mates with another one and it creates kind of a hybrid, that's still not evolution. The way that I think about it, anyway. This might be a bit of a difficult canyon with snow covering all the rock. It might make things a bit too slick. I don't know. So it's always kind of bothered me that the top scientists in the world acknowledge that Darwinism is completely flawed. Yet I talk to someone that isn't an expert in that, who has just listened to stuff, or maybe that's just what they believe in general, and they are way more confident in it than even the most like intelligent academics in that field. It's bizarre to me to see that, and you shouldn't take my word for anything. I'm just saying that this is my take on it. Oh, a little slimy there.
Alright guys, I just wanted to thank my Patreon supporters. That would be Lance Darnell, Jim Jolson Jr., Kurt Kinghorn, Daniel Roush, Brian Thomason, Wade James, Moto Creek, Nathan Young, Jason Froling. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you.